Good evening, everyone. This is Phineas P. Gage, and I'm here to do a new series on philosophical topics for you all. And I thought, getting out of the shower and going to work and all that takes up a lot of time. And I figured it would be best to spend that time thinking aloud and sharing those thoughts with you. And the topic today I was thinking about, I did think it was a bit improper for me to... Oh no, there's a dead squirrel on the road. I don't know if you saw that. Poor squirrel, mutilated on the road. I don't know if you... It seemed a bit improper for me to talk about such things while I was in the shower. Getting out of the shower, I do not want to be indecent. So I'm beginning it now with the car ride. And I know this might be not the safest thing, but it will probably be best since it's a short ride and I know the road very well. Anyway, to continue on, the real purpose of these is to examine various topics in the human condition. First of which, I was thinking today about pleasure, the idea that pleasure rules all things is the basis for all human action. Now, this has always seemed to me to be a simplistic idea, because the nature of pleasure is very complex. And so, for example, to begin at the beginning, all things we do seem to be either culturally derived or naturally derived. And one wonders such things as music, as automobiles, as combing one's hair into different fashions, anything that requires techne, the Aristotelian word, the fashioning by human means is to some degree unnatural. Like, all these things are not moving, they're not growing, they're not alive. Whereas everything in the natural world, which animals use, is alive in some sense, is always moving. And so I wondered also if this did not contribute a bit to human stagnation, that we live amongst things that are dead materially. But then I thought, well, could one say really that it is unnatural, or is it another aspect of the being human, which is not simply to act, but to also be culturally, have culture form a part of your intellect, your mind, your character. Now, this is an important distinction because there's very few other animals that have culture. Chimpanzees perhaps have some traits that are passed on within the group rather than are sprouted naturally, and obviously they've been shown that they've been able to learn different types of languages. So meaning very rudimentary things, sign language and things, but one wonders if they could pass that on, or if that is strictly a taught sort of repeating pattern method of learning. I just saw someone had a dog on a leash, but the dog was not real. I don't know what the purpose of having a stuffed dog on a leash is, but I suppose it can be a placebo, or what's the other word, a stand-in for a real dog if you can't afford it for some reason. Anyway, so one can teach dogs tricks, for example, but does that mean they have culture? Not really, because a dog doesn't understand what it's doing. It has enough intelligence to see something and to respond in the same way to the signals. My goodness, a lot of events today. I just heard some geese flying overhead. I thought it was some kind of radio signal. I don't know if you heard that, but it was a very distinct sound of geese flying, or perhaps some other kind of bird, I'm not sure. Anyway, a dog only knows how to respond to verbal signals, but it does not actually understand what it's doing to the extent that it could teach its young such a thing. Yet, chimpanzees have exhibited some ability to teach, and I think that is the central aspect of what makes something a cultural idea or practice, is that it can be learned and passed on. And so we must think about all the things that are passed on from our parents and from our culture. It almost is hard to find anything that is not culturally based. Is there anything we really do that does not draw its fundamental pleasure aspect of it. It's an odd way to say it, pleasure aspect. What I mean to say is that can we authentically participate in any activity that does not have some cultural reason for its being the way it is, and for us to perceive it the way that we do? Eating, perhaps, food from a tree, but even then, it seems as if... oh, goodness, bloody hell. You know, parking spaces in here are very tricky. Well, I'll have to end this podcast for now, but while I find a parking space, I'm not late to work. But we'll catch you next time. This has been Phineas Gage, and I will see you anon.